So today we are supposed to discuss about the left out part of the third unit. I've already discussed the first part of the third unit, which is related to the banking area. Today we'll go on to discuss about the other part of the third unit, which is related to the insurance area. And basically we'll go on to discuss about two major aspects. One is the role of development officer in the business of insurance, and second one is related to the principles and functions of general insurance, as well as the personal general insurance products and uh, business general insurance products or industrial general insurance products. So first, we'll go on to discuss about the development officer and their role in the business of insurance. As you all know, business of insurance is basically being done with public money, and the company is not directly coming to the public to mobilize the fund. There are certain intermediaries through which the company reaches the ultimate customers who are none other than the public in general. So the business of insurance, if you look at, you can find that it is based on an agency system. And it is the agents who actually come face to face with the general public. It is the agents through which the business of insurance is actually being facilitated or carried out. Now, the development officer is none other than the mentor of these agents. Just above the agency level, it is the development officer's level, who generally act as an interlink between the company and the public. Because development officer normally is supposed to ensure the development of the business of insurance of that company for which it is acting. In public sector insurance companies, we generally call them as the development officers. But if you look at the private sector insurance companies, which are largely available in our country like India, the development officers are actually being known as the agency development managers or ADMs. Sometimes they are also being considered as the sales managers. So they go on, their basic duty is to first of all recruit agents for the company. As you know, agents are not the employees of the company. They basically work on a commission basis. Whatever business they provide, on the basis of that business, commission will be provided to them. So to find out what development officers are all about, what is the basic responsibility of the development officers, what are the things which is required on the part of a development officer, or skills which are required on the part of a development officer, all these things we'll go on to discuss. So for that, let me share with you some slides so that it will be easier on our part to have a proper discussion on the concept of development officer related to the business of insurance. So if you look at this slide, it is basically being written as the importance of development officer, particularly in the business of insurance. As I have already pointed out that development officers act as an interlink between the company and the agents who ultimately facilitate the business of insurance by approaching the public in general. Therefore, the role of the development officer is highly important. If you want to understand what is the importance of the development officer pertaining to the business of insurance, then you need to go through different aspects which ultimately will signify the very importance of the development officers in the business of insurance. The first major aspect is that business growth. What does it mean? It indicates that the development officers are actually considered to be helpful in expanding the insurance market by recruiting and motivating agents. Because the more number of agents are supposed to join the business of insurance, the more business in terms of revenue is to be uh, achieved by the companies. That is the reason why, for growth of the business of insurance, the role of development officer is highly important. If you look at the companies like LIC, which is a public sector insurance company which is working particularly in the life insurance business, we can find that an individual development officer is having minimum 25 to 50 agents under it. And the development officer has to manage these agents properly so that through those agents, the development officer can generate more and more business for the company for which it is working. So the agents basically contribute significantly to the total premium income because you know that every agent is being provided with certain target. If each agent goes on to fulfill their target or even a major portion of their target, then automatically the revenue to be generated by the insurance company will automatically be more. As a result of which, in terms of revenue, in monetary terms, the growth of insurance business will be ensured. So to ensure the growth of insurance business, the importance of development officers are there. The second aspect is training and supervision. Here, training and supervision is basically related to the training imparted to the agents. As the agents are supposed to be the ultimate face of the company when they reach out to the public. So they need to have a proper understanding about the products which they are supposed to sell. For that, they need to be properly trained. So to ensure that the agents are properly trained, particularly related to the products which they are supposed to sell, it is the responsibility of the development officer that it has to ensure that all the agents have been provided with proper training facilities. So the development officer basically provides sales and product training to the agents so that the productivity of the agents will be increased. If productivity of agents will increase, automatically they will generate more revenue for the company. If you look at the practical insights, you can find that both in public sector as well as in the private sector insurance companies, the development officers organize regular workshops to help agents understand new policies. As you know, from time to time basis, new policies are being introduced by different insurance companies. So the agents need to have proper knowledge on those new policies, what the policy is all about, what are the unique features of the policy, what benefits the prospective policyholder is supposed to get if the policyholder takes the policy. All these informations are supposed to be imparted to the prospective policyholder or to the client. Further, the agents are supposed to be trained properly and to ensure that proper training facility is being provided to the agents. The agents have been given with proper training facility. The development officer role is supposed to be important. The third aspect is customer relationship. Now, since the development officers are considered to be the interlink between the company and the agents, as you know, agents are not the employees of the company. So, being the employee of the company, it is the development officer who will have to look after the interest of the customers. The customers are brought by the agents, whereby the agents are working under the development officer. So the development officer's responsibility is to ensure that the customer's interests are properly looked at. So for that, a good customer relationship must have to be maintained by the development officer, for which the development officer need to ensure that at the time of settlement of claims, when the policy gets matured or uh, when the claim is being made by the policyholder, the claim settlement is being done smoothly. And after selling of the product, whatever service is required on the part of the customers, that service is being provided to the customers. Because just like banking companies, insurance companies also want their customers to be a long-term customer, particularly in case of life insurance businesses. All the life insurance companies want their customers to be a long-term customer, because as you know, in the general insurances, the term is for 1 year. You can continue with the same insurance company after the expiry of the 1 year period, or you might switch over to any other company. But in case of life insurances, when you are supposed to purchase a policy, the insurance company actually wants you to purchase a policy for a long period of time. Maybe for 10 years, maybe for 20 years, maybe for 50, 30 years, like that. So customer relationship, smooth uh, settlement of claims, and provision of better and fair services after the product is being sold to the customers is to be ensured by the development officer. Another aspect is your market intelligence. In which way the market is supposed to move, what is the trend of the market, what would be the likely trend of the market. All these things are supposed to be known on the part of the development officer. And because the development officer has an agency channel under it, which are functioning properly, so through those agents, the development officer actually gets sufficient informations related to the market in which the business is operating. And accordingly, the development officer must have that intelligence to ensure or to collect the feedbacks from the agents about customer preferences and competitor. As a result of which, if there are there if the development officer comes to a conclusion that the customers require some new things, some new products, so it can channelize this information to the head office, and accordingly some new products might be in place, or some changes in the existing product might take place, or some better services might be provided to the customers in order to retain the customer base. So that market intelligence is also another aspect which signifies the importance of the development officer. Last but not the least is the brand representation. Every company has its own brand. And for a company to sustain in the market over a long period of time, particularly related to the financial services sector in which the business of insurance comes, it is highly required that the companies need to create a brand for themselves. And for creating a brand, it costs a lot for the company. So the brand is actually being represented by the development officer, because it is the development officer who, through the agents, actually reaches the public. So the brand of the organization for which the development officer is working is actually transmitted to the public through the development officer. So the brand representation indicates that the development officer represents the company in the market with trust and credibility. People must have that much of trust, that much of faith on the company. And by getting sufficient informations on the company from the development officer or from the agents whom the development officer has imparted proper training, the people in general or those who are supposed to be the customers of the company, they go on to pose faith as well as trust on the company. So the trust and faith of the customers can be enhanced through the development officers. That is the reason why we are saying the importance of development officer in the business of insurance is also important in the sense that they are considered to be the representative of the brand for which they are working. Then coming to the duties and responsibilities, whatever we have discussed from the importance, you must have known the fact that there are certain responsibilities, certain duties of the development officer. Whatever we have discussed, on that basis, we can also say that the major responsibility of the development officers is nothing but to recruit and select proper agents, whom the development officer will further go on to impart training facilities. And after being trained, the agents will go on to generate revenue for the company by selling the products of the company to the general public. So one of the major responsibility or major duty of the development officer is to recruit and select agents. For that, they first of all need to identify who are going to be the agents. There are certain norms for agents to be selected, which are imposed by the company, and in some cases, the IRDA has also come out with certain agency norms. On the basis of those norms, those conditions, the development officer first of all need to identify some people. Then it will go on to recruit them through either uh, an interview or through an interaction. It will go on to recruit them. Generally, what happens, although the development officer has identified the prospective individuals who are supposed to be the agents, but they first of all need to go through a minimum 21 days uh, classroom training. After that, they will have to appear for an examination. They need to pass that examination. After that, they will be given with a license. Then only they can work as an agent. So all these things are to be taken care of by the development officer to identify, recruit, and appoint potential insurance agents, then conduct interviews and ensure agents meet IRDAI eligibility norms, as we have already pointed out, build a capable sales team to represent the company effectively. ତ ଯଦି 15 ଜଣଙ୍କୁ ସେ ସିଲେକ୍ଟ କରୁଛି ତା ଭିତରୁ ମେ ବି 5 ଜଣ 6 ଜଣ ପାସ୍ କରିପାରନ୍ତି ସେଇ 500 ଜଣଙ୍କୁ ନେଇକି ସେ ଗୋଟେ ରୋବୋଟ ଟିମ୍ କ୍ରିଏଟ କରିବ ଯୋଉଠିକି ସେ ଏନସିଓର କରିବେ ଯେ these 5-6 people will generate the expected revenue for the company. After they are being selected on the basis of the interview, they will be provided with the training. ଏଇଟା ମୁଁ କହୁନି ଯେ କ୍ଲାସରୁମ୍ ଟ୍ରେନିଂରେ ଯିବ ଏଇଟା ଯିବ କଣ ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ ଟ୍ରେନିଂରେ ତ ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ ଟ୍ରେନିଂରେ ଆସିଯାଉଛି ଟ୍ରେନିଂ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଯୋଉ ଆସୁଛି in that case the responsibility of the development officer is to train agents in sales techniques, communication skills, and product knowledge. Communication skill doesn't mean that they will speak only in English or in Hindi. They can speak in any language which should be properly communicated to the prospective clients. ତେଣୁ କ୍ଲାଏଣ୍ଟର ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜ ଯାହା ଅଛି ସେଇ ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜରେ ଯେମିତି ପ୍ରପରଲି କମ୍ୟୁନିକେଟ କରିପାରୁଥିବେ, so ତାଙ୍କ କମ୍ୟୁନିକେସନ ସ୍କିଲ ଟାକୁ ବଢେଇବେ। କାରଣ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷକୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ରିପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟ କରାଯାଏ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ରିପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟେସନ ଟା ସମାନ ରହେନି। So in what way you should present a thing so that the other person to whom you are presenting will be attracted to it, that is being uh, provided through the communication skill training. Uh, Apart from that, all the agents are supposed to have sufficient knowledge about the product. So, product knowledge, for the purpose of getting knowledge on product, the agents need to be trained. Then conduct workshops and field training programs for the agents. Update agents about new policies, premium structures, and claim procedures. So it is the responsibility of the development officers or the agency development managers that they need to ensure that proper training has been imparted to the agents, and accordingly the agents have developed themselves to actually act as agent for the company. After providing training to the agents, the role of the development officer is not being ended. Rather, the development officer is supposed to supervise the agents as well as motivate the agents from time to time basis. So how the development officer can do that? So on a periodical basis, the development officer needs to monitor the performance of the agents, need to provide feedback to the agents that these are your skills, these are your positives, these are your negatives, and set some business targets for the agents. Similarly, for agents to work more productively, more efficiently, there has to be some rewards to be provided to the agents. So here the rewards are basically in the form of incentives. So the responsibility of the development officer is to motivate the team of agents through incentives, through recognitions, and through guidance. If any operational challenge is being faced by the agent, then the agent can directly approach the development officer so that the development officer can go on to solve or resolve that operational challenge being faced by the agents in the field. ତାପରେ ଆପଣ କ୍ଲାଏଣ୍ଟ ପାଖକୁ ଯାଇଛନ୍ତି, ଦେଖୁଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ଭଲ କ୍ଲାଏଣ୍ଟ ଅଛି କିନ୍ତୁ ଆପଣ ଯୋଉଟା କହୁଛନ୍ତି ସେଟା ସେ ବୁଝିପାରୁନି ଆଜ ଏନ୍ ଏଜେଣ୍ଟ, you are unable to convince him. So ସେ ଜାଗାରେ ଯଦି ଆପଣ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଅଫିସରକୁ ଡାକିବେ, being an officer ତାଙ୍କ approach ଟା different ରହିବ, ଆପଣ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି ବିଜନେସ ହେଇପାରିବ। ସୋ ସେ ଜାଗାରେ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଅଫିସର ଯାଇକି ତାଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ନେଗୋସିଏସନ କରିକି ତାଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ କମ୍ୟୁନିକେସନ କରିକି କନଭିନ୍ସ କରିପାରିବେ। ତ ସେଇ ରୋଲଟା ମଧ୍ୟ ରହୁଛି। ତ ସେଠି ଏଜେଣ୍ଟ ଜାଣିବ ଯେ ୟେସ୍ ମାଇ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଅଫିସର ଇଜ ୱିଥ୍ ମି ଆଟ୍ ଅଲ୍ ଟାଇମ୍ସ। ଦେନ୍ business promotion and customer service. This is also another responsibility of the development officer. As we have already pointed out that in some cases the development officers are supposed to be the sales managers, and the basic responsibility of the development officer is to enhance the sales of the insurance company for which it is working. Therefore, the responsibility as well as the duty of the development officer is to promote the insurance business and to provide better services to the customers. Therefore, with relation to the business promotion and customer service, the development officer generally assists in policy sales and renewal drives. Renewal ହବାର ମାସେ ପୂର୍ବରୁ କି 15 ଦିନ ପୂର୍ବରୁ ଆପଣ ଇଣ୍ଟିମେଟ କରିବେ କଷ୍ଟମରକୁ ଯେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଡେଟ୍ ଆସିଲାଣି, ରିନ୍ୟୁଆଲ ହବାକୁ ଯାଉଛି, ରିନ୍ୟୁଆଲ କର, so that the customer can feel that yes, the agent or the development officer is working properly. ଆପଣଙ୍କ ମନେ ଥାଇପାରେ ନଥାଇପାରେ, ଭୁଲି ଯାଇଥାଇ ପାରନ୍ତି। ତେଣୁ ଯଦି ହେଲ୍ଥ ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଟେ କରିଛନ୍ତି ଯୋଉଟା କି ବର୍ଷକୁ ବର୍ଷ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ରିନ୍ୟୁଆଲ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ, ଡେଟ୍ ଟା ଭୁଲି ଯାଇଛନ୍ତି, ତା ଭିତରେ ଯଦି ପଳେଇବ ତାହେଲେ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ବର୍ଷକର ପଇସା ପୁରା ଲସ୍ ହେଇଯିବ, ଆଉ କଣ୍ଟିନ୍ୟୁଟି ଟା ରହିବନି, ପୁଣି ନୂଆ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ। ତେଣୁ ସେଠି ଯଦି ମାସେ ପୂର୍ବରୁ କି 15 ଦିନ ପୂର୍ବରୁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଜଣେଇ ଦିଆଯାଉଛି ଯେ 15 ଦିନ ପରେ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଡେଟ୍ ଆସୁଛି, ଆପଣ ବି ରେଡି, so that ଆପଣ କଣ୍ଟିନ୍ୟୁଟି ରହିବ, ତାହେଲେ ସେଠି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ସେଟା ସୁବିଧା ହବ। That thing has to be done by the development officer either or by the agents. Agents যেহেতু are working under the development officer, so the onus is on the development officer. Then the development officer also has to ensure customer satisfaction through timely service and claim settlement, maintain record of policies, claims, and commission details. So these are some of the duties and responsibilities of a development officer. Then coming to for being a good development officer, what are the skills which are required on the part of a development officer, on the part of a sales manager? Because the business of insurance is ultimately related to sales. The more sales you provide, the more recognition, more reward you will get. So for being or to be as a perfect sales manager, perfect development officer, what skills are required? There are certain skills. The first skill is the leadership skill. A development officer needs to have a leadership skill. Leadership skill means, as we have already pointed out, that the development officer works through its agency channel. Every development officer has minimum 25 to 50 agents working under it. So for those 25 to 50 agents, the development officer is considered to be a leader because they are in the team of that development officer, and development officer is none other than the team leader. And team leader is always a leader. So that leadership quality must have to be present in a development officer. That the leadership quality indicates that the development officer must be able to inspire and manage a team of agents effectively. ସବୁ ଏଜେଣ୍ଟ କୁ ଯେମିତି ଇଫେକ୍ଟିଭଲି ମ୍ୟାନେଜ କରିପାରୁଥିବେ, କାରଣ you are leading a team, you are working with a team, your team consists of a number of agents, and you need to take care of the interest of each and every agent. It's not that କି ଜଣେ ଜଣଙ୍କର ଦେଖିବେ ଯିଏ ବିଜନେସ ଦଉଛନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କ କଥା ଦେଖିବେ ଆଉ କାହା କଥା ଦେଖିବେନି, ଯୋଉମାନେ ବିଜନେସ ଦେଇ ପାରୁନାହାନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଆପଣ ମୋଟିଭେଟ କରିବେ. That is the responsibility of a good leader. So that leadership skill must have to be present in a development officer. Second skill is your communication skill. This is common in everything because for uh, leading a team or for working with a team of agents, you need to have a proper communication skill. Without having proper communication skill, you cannot train your agents properly. ଯଦି ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଅଫିସର କମ୍ୟୁନିକେସନ ସ୍କିଲ୍ ଥିବ, ଅଟୋମେଟିକାଲି ସେଟାକୁ ସେ ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସମିଟ କରିବ ଟୁ ଦ ଏଜେଣ୍ଟସ, ତ ଏଜେଣ୍ଟସଙ୍କର କମ୍ୟୁନିକେସନ ସ୍କିଲ୍ ମଧ୍ୟ ଡେଭଲପ କରିବ. ତ କମ୍ୟୁନିକେସନ ସ୍କିଲ୍ ମିନ୍ସ what? Communication skill means skill which help an individual to explain things clearly to the team members. That is the communication skill. Sometimes the development officer also comes in direct contact with the customers because, as I have already pointed out, in some cases where the agent suppose fail to convince the customer, it has to seek the help of the development officer. So in that case, the development officer has come down to the prospective customer, try to have a negotiation with the customer, try to have a proper talk with the customer, try to convince the customer. So for that, the development officer needs to have a proper communication skill. So here we are talking about the development officer related to the insurance business. So regarding the policies, all detailed knowledge should be possessed by the development officer, and by impact by you can say that saying those things to the customers or to the agents, the development officer can properly communicate with. Then third skill is your analytical skill, analytical thinking skill. Because as we have already pointed out that the development officer generally needs to understand the market trends, as a result of which it can suggest the company to come out with certain new policies or to come out with certain changes in the existing policies. So to evaluate the sales data as well as to evaluate the market trends. What is the current trend? What would be the likely future trend? As a development officer, you need to evaluate that. For that, you need to have a proper analytical thinking skill. On the basis of the data, you need to analyze the data properly. So every development officer is supposed to have an analytical thinking skill. Without that, a development officer is supposed to be incomplete. Then another skill is you must be a good motivator, you must be a good empathizer. So motivation and empathy must have to be present in the development officer, as we have already pointed out that the development officer needs to motivate the agents. It is only when the agents gets motivated, they will go on to have more and more business for the company. Similarly, if any problem is being faced by the agents, the development officer needs to have empathy for those agents. It need to take into consideration the concerns of those agents also. So motivation and empathy indicates that the development officer needs to encourage agents and handle customer concerns. Then last skill required is ethical skill as well as integrity. So ethics and integrity, whatever things the development officer does, it needs to do it in an ethical manner. The development officer should not be indulged in any unethical activities or any illegal activity. Whatever things the development officer is supposed to do, what we have discussed till now, you have to admit that the development officer needs to do all these things in an ethical manner. That means it is the responsibility of the development officer that it needs to maintain trust and transparency in business operations. Whatever it is the development officer is doing, it should be transparent. The customers must feel that everything is done by the development officer in a transparent way or in an ethical way. Then only they can pose the trust and faith on the development officer as well as on the company as a whole. So this is all about the development officer, their role, and the skills which are required. There are some examples which are also being given here. Three examples are there. You can go through that. Where in one example we are saying that the development officers in LIC has a defined span of control because every development officer in LIC is having an agency channel of 30 to 50 agents. And the performance of these agents directly affect the development officer's appraisal and incentives. Similarly, in private insurance companies, as I have already pointed out that the development officers are also called as the agency development officers, managers or unit managers. And their role basically focuses on digital selling, customer relationship building. Digital selling means through online you are supposed to sell the product. As you know that in the modern day time period, many such insurance products are being offered online. The customers are not supposed to be contacted physically. Through online, you can also sell the product. So that skill must have to be there in the development officers, and it is a requirement in case of private insurance company. Then example three indicates that during the COVID-19 pandemic, many development officers shifted to virtual training and online policy promotions. As you know, during the pandemic, nobody was allowed to go outside. There was a restriction on the congregation of people. Not more than two or three people can congregate in a place. That is the reason why the development officers also um, trained themselves or also ensured that they are more online friendly. Through online, they went on to promote products and also they went on to impart training to their agents virtually. Then comes the challenges which are supposed to be faced by the development officers. As it is a sales-oriented business, insurance is a sales-oriented business, and most of the sales rest upon the development officers. Therefore, there is supposed to be high pressure on the development officers to meet the sales targets. Similarly, the development officer needs to motivate the agents at all times. So if at any point of time there is any personal problems, without uh, caring for that personal problem, the development officer needs to motivate the agents. So that is also an uphill task on the part of an individual. Managing customer expectations and timely claim processing, adapting to digital transformation in insurance selling. So these are the basic challenges which are being faced by the development officer. Is it okay? Or any questions or queries are there? Any queries?
No, sir.
ବୁଝିହେଲା ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କର?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we'll move to the other aspect of insurance, which is there in your third unit. It is, as I said to you, basically related to the principles and functions of general insurance and personal and professional general insurance products. Insurance, we have already defined while discussing in the first unit, and we pointed out that it is nothing but a protection being provided to the economic value of assets. Uh, and basically, it is a protection provided against some future uncertain losses. Because future is completely uncertain, nobody knows what will happen in future. So to avoid the uncertain future losses or to be protected against those uncertain future losses, we need to do the insurance. General insurance, as I have already pointed out, that apart from life, whatever assets are there, all those assets are supposed to be insured under the general insurances. That's why general insurance is otherwise known as pure non-life insurances, and it deals with all forms of insurance other than the life insurance form, whereby the subject matter of insurance is any asset other than the life asset. And in non-life insurances, as we have already discussed, that the duration of the insurance period is only for 1 year, and every year we need to renew that insurance. So if you go on to find out what are the types of insurances, you can find that we have motor insurances, we have marine insurances, we have fire insurances, we have health insurances, we have home insurances, we have travel insurances, like there's so many insurances are there. But in each case, when you go for insuring these assets against the risk to which the assets are being exposed to, you need to insure it only for a period of 1 year. Because every year, the non-life insurance or the general insurance is supposed to be renewed. Clear? Then coming to the principles of general insurances, we have already discussed about the principles of insurance, both life and general. So those principles are also applicable in case of general insurances. It is a repetition actually. We have already gone through the principle of utmost good faith, principle of insurable interest, principle of indemnity, principle of subrogation, principle of contribution, and principle of proximate clause. All these principles are there being relevant to the general insurances because these principles are supposed to be abided by all the general insurances companies to ensure fairness, transparency, and legality in insurance contracts. Uh, as we have already pointed out that without insurable interest, no insurance can be done. So the concept of insurable interest is applicable to general insurances. Similarly, we also pointed out that indemnity principle is there, which is not applicable to life insurance business. It is applicable only to the non-life insurance business or general insurance business, because if the principle of indemnity indicates that whatever is the actual loss, that actual loss will only be compensated. Therefore, indemnity principle is not applicable to life insurances, as we cannot have a certain value for the life asset. For our life, we cannot have a certain value. So the principle of indemnity is not applicable to life insurance, but it is applicable to general insurance. The principle of subrogation, we have already discussed about that. It is basically being applied in motor insurances, the principle of subrogation. Uh, then principle of contribution is also applicable to general insurances. We have already discussed that. Approximate clause means the nearest cause of loss. When loss occurs and when the claim is being made, first of all, the insurance company wants to find out what is the proximate cause. Proximate cause means the immediate cause of loss. Suppose ଆପଣଙ୍କର ନିଆଁ ଲାଗିକି କିଛି ଜିନିଷ ପୋଡିଗଲା, ଆପଣ ରଖିଥିଲେ ଗୋଡାଉନରେ କିମ୍ବା ଆପଣଙ୍କର ସପରେ ଜିନିଷ କିଛି ପୋଡିଗଲା। So proximate cause ଟା ଏଠି କଣ ଆସିବ? ଯେ fire, because of fire. But cause of loss ଟାକୁ ଯଦି ଆପଣ ଦେଖିବେ, ତାହେଲେ fire ଟା କାହିଁକି ହେଲା? There might be many reasons for which the fire broke out. Either ଆପଣଙ୍କ ସର୍ଟ ସର୍କିଟ ହେଲା, କି ନିଆଁ ଲଗେଇଦେଲା। So ସେଇ ଜିନିଷଟାକୁ investigate କରାଯିବ by the insurance companies. So proximate cause indicates that the nearest or most dominant cause of loss, and that has to be covered under the policy. So ନିଆଁ ଯୋଗୁ ଜଳିବାର ଯଦି ଚାନ୍ସ ଅଛି, ତାହେଲେ ଆପଣ ଇନସ୍યોର କରିପାରିବେ। ହେଲା? So these are the basic principles. ତେଣୁ ଆକୁ details କୁ ଯିବା ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ, because we have already discussed about it. Then functions of general insurance କଣ ଅଛି? କଣ functions ରହୁଛି general insurance ର in general? So first function ରହୁଛି, it helps in transferring risk. जो financial risk रा ରହୁଛି, individuals को पाखरे हो किंबा business concern ମାନଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ହଉ, ସେଇ financial risk against ରେ ଆପଣ insurance କରୁଛନ୍ତି. That means the risk is ultimately to be undertaken by the insurance company when you go for insurance. ତେଣୁ insurance company ପାଖକୁ ସେ risk ଟା ପଳେଇବ, ଆଉ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ସେ risk ରହିବନି। So risk ଟା transfer ହେଇଯିବ. Risk transfer is one of the major functions. Then risk sharing. So many insured contribute small premiums to form a large pool used for compensating the few who suffer losses. ଆମେ ଏଠି କହିଲେ ନା, many people are being exposed to the same risk, and if all the people together decides individual that they will go for insuring the risk to which they are being exposed to, so ଯେତେବେଳେ ବି ସେ risk ଟା ହବ, chances ଅଛି ଯେ at a time ସମସ୍ତେ affected ହେବେନି। Suppose ଆମେ ଗାଡିର insurance କରୁଛେ, ଆମ ଭଳିଆ ଯୋଉମାନେ ସବୁ ଗାଡିର ଓନର ସମସ୍ତେ insurance କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ତ at a time ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କର ତ accident ହେଇଯାଉନି, ତା ଭିତରୁ କିଛି ଲୋକଙ୍କର accident ହଉଛି। ସେଇଟା calculate କରିଥାଏ company ଯେ what is the probability of occurrence of the risk. କୋଉଠି probability ଟା 5% ଥାଏ, କୋଉଠି 10% ଥାଏ। ତେଣୁ 100% ଲୋକ contribute କରିଥିବେ, କିନ୍ତୁ 10% ଲୋକ affected ହେବେ, ସେଇ 10% ଲୋକଙ୍କୁ compensation ଦିଆଯିବ। ତ generally କଣ ହୁଏ ନା, ଆମେ ଯୋଉ ପ୍ରିମିୟମ ସମସ୍ତେ ମିଶିକି ଦେଇଥିବା, ସେଇଥିରୁ ହିଁ ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ କରିବେ ସେମାନେ compensation। ସେଥିପାଇଁ ମୁଁ କହୁଛି risk ଟାକୁ share କରିଦିଅନ୍ତୁ, risk sharing। Then financial stability. ଯେହେତୁ ଆମେ କହିଲେ ଯେ general insurance ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଯେ ଯାହା actual loss ହେଇଥିବ ସେଟାକୁ compensate କରାଯିବ, ତେଣୁ ଆମର financial position before the loss occurs ଯାହା ଥିବ, through insurance after the loss ଆମର ସେଇ same financial position ଆସିବ, for which financial stability ଟା ଆପଣଙ୍କର ରହିବ। ତେଣୁ ଯାହା loss ଆପଣଙ୍କର ହେଇଗଲା, ଯଦି insurance ଆପଣ କରିଛନ୍ତି, ତାହେଲେ ସେତିକି loss ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ compensate କରିଦିଆଯାଉଛି, as a result of which the financial stability is being maintained. So generally the general insurances help individuals and companies recover quickly from loss and continue operations. Another function होची जे it encourages savings and investment. And ଆପଣ ଯଦି insurance କରୁଛନ୍ତି, so regular basis ରେ you need to pay the premium amount, which ultimately will help in building financial discipline on the part of individuals as well as on the part of the organizations. ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ function ହଉଛି ଯେ through this business of insurance, the insurance companies help in promoting the economic growth. କାରଣ ଏମାନେ trade को protect କରୁଛନ୍ତି, industry को protect କରୁଛନ୍ତି, infrastructure को protect କରୁଛନ୍ତି from all types of risks to which they are being exposed. ସେଥିପାଇଁ ସମସ୍ତେ insurance କରୁଛନ୍ତି। ଏମାନେ ଯେହେତୁ protection provide କରୁଛନ୍ତି trade କୁ, industry କୁ, infrastructure କୁ, ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଏମାନେ economic growth ରେ help କରୁଛନ୍ତି। employment generation ଯୋଉଟା ଆମେ କହିଲେ ଯେ company ରେ ବହୁତ ଗୁଡେ ଲୋକ ରହୁଛନ୍ତି on the payroll of the company. Apart from that, ଗୋଟେ major agency pool ରହୁଛି। Although agents are not being paid by the company, they are being paid on the basis of commission for the business that they undertake or that they facilitate. तो से agents ମାନଙ୍କର ମଧ୍ୟ income ହଉଛି, so ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ employment opportunity ମଧ୍ୟ provide କରୁଛି। These are some of the functions of general insurance. ତାପରେ ବଢିଆ ସେ personal general insurance products ଗୁଡାକୁ। So personal general insurance products means ଏଇଟା protect କରୁଛି individuals को, families को from day to day risk ରୁ। ତାହେଲେ କୋଉ କୋଉ insurance ଗୁଡା ଆମର personal general insurance product ହିସାବରେ ଆସିବ? ଆମେ ଆମର ଯୋଉ vehicle insurance କରୁଛି, two wheeler ହଉ, four wheeler ହଉ କିମ୍ବା କିଛି other ଇଏ ହଉ, so ସେଇ motor insurance ରେ ଆମେ basically provide କରୁଛି insurance ଟା ବା loss ଟାକୁ cover କରୁଛି due to accident, due to theft or due to fire. Health insurance ମଧ୍ୟ ଗୋଟେ personal general insurance product ରେ ଆସିବ, କାରଣ health ଟା individual ଆପଣ ନଉଛନ୍ତି ନହେଲେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ family ପାଇଁ ନଉଛନ୍ତି, ତ ସେଇଟା ଆସିଯିବ। ଏଠି group health insurance କୁ ମୁଁ ଆଣୁନି, ଖାଲି health insurance କୁ ଆଣୁଛି, medical hospitalization expenses କୁ ନଉଛି। home insurance ଆପଣ କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ଯଦି ଘର କରିଛନ୍ତି କାଳେ ନିଆଁ ଲାଗିଯିବ, କାଳେ ଚୋରି ହେଇଯିବ, ଆପଣ ଘରଟାକୁ ସବୁ insure କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ତ home insurance ମଧ୍ୟ ଗୋଟେ personal general insurance product ରେ ଯିବ। personal accident insurance, ଏଠି ଆପଣ motor insurance ନ କରିକି ଖାଲି accident insurance ଯଦି କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ଯେ ମୋର ଆପଣ vulnerable to accident ଅଛନ୍ତି suppose, କୋଉଠି କାମ କରୁଛନ୍ତି, suppose କିଛି ଗୋଟେ ଅସୁବିଧା ହେଇଯାଉଛି ସେଠି, ତାହେଲେ ସେ ଜାଗାରେ ଆପଣ personal accident insurance କରିପାରିବେ। accidental death କିମ୍ବା disability ହେଲେ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଯିଏ ଥିବ ନୋମିନି ସେ ପାଇବ, ଯଦି disability ହଉଛି ଆପଣ disability ପାଇଁ ପାଇବେ। ଆଜିକାଲି travel insurance ବି ହେଇଗଲାଣି, ଆପଣ ବାହାରକୁ travel କରୁଛନ୍ତି, so entire travel ଟାକୁ ଆପଣ insure କରିପାରିବେ। ଯଦି କିଛି ଅସୁବିଧା ହେଲା during the travel and because of that ଯଦି କିଛି loss ହେଲା, ସେ loss ଟା ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ compensate କରାଯିବ। ଏଇଟା ମଧ୍ୟ compulsory ହେଇଗଲାଣି, ସବୁ ଆପଣ foreign country ଯଦି ଯାଉଛନ୍ତି, କେତେ ଗୁଡେ ଜାଗାରେ travel insurance କରିବାକୁ ଆପଣ ବାଧ୍ୟ। ବେସିକାଲି ଟାଟା ଏଆଇଜି ଏଇଟା ବେଶୀ provide କରୁଛି, travel guard ଯୋଉଟା ଦେଇଛି। ହଁ, ତେଣୁ ବ୍ୟାଗେଜ ଲସ୍ ହେଇଗଲା କି ଫ୍ଲାଇଟ୍ ଡିଲେ ଯୋଗୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଲସ୍ ହେଇଗଲା, ମେଡିକାଲ ଏମର୍ଜେନ୍ସି ବାହାରେ ରହୁଛି, ସେ ଜାଗାରେ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଦିଆଯିବ। ଟ୍ରାଭେଲ ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଟା ଗୋଟେ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଭଲ ଟ୍ରେଣ୍ଡ ଅଛି ଫର ଦୋଜ ହୁ ୱାଣ୍ଟସ ଟୁ ମୁଭ ଆବ୍ରୋଡ, ଯେଉଁମାନେ ବାହାରକୁ ଯିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛନ୍ତି। ଆଉ କ୍ରପ୍ ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଫାର୍ମର ମାନଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ସେଟା ମଧ୍ୟ ଗୋଟେ ପର୍ସନାଲ ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ ଦିଏ। ଆଉ commercial general insurance product ଯୋଉଟା commercial purpose ପାଇଁ, so generally it involves those products which protect businesses, industries and organizations against various operational risks। ତା ଭିତରେ କୋଉ କୋଉ type ର product ଆସିବ ନା fire insurance ଅଛି, whole marine insurance, burglar insurance। burglar ଟା ହଉଛି ଯଦି ଚୋରି ଫୋରି ହେଇଯାଉଛି କିମ୍ବା ଡକାୟତି ହେଇଯାଉଛି କିମ୍ବା ତମର ଯୋଉ ଗୋଦାମ ଘର କି ଦୋକାନ ଘର ତାଡିକି ନେଇଯାଉଛନ୍ତି, ଯୋଉଟା ଆମେ ବେସିକାଲି ବର୍ଗଲାର୍ସ ମାନେ କହୁ, ଡକାୟତ ମାନଙ୍କୁ, ସେଇଗୁଡା ପାଇଁ ଆପଣ ବର୍ଗଲାର ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଅଛି। ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ରହୁଛି, ଯୋଉଟା କି ଥାର୍ଡ ପାର୍ଟି ଲିଗାଲ କ୍ଲେମ୍ସ ଯଦି କିଛି ରହିବ, ଯାହା ଯୋଗୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଇଞ୍ଜୁରି ହଉଛି କିମ୍ବା ଡ୍ୟାମେଜ ହଉଛି, ତାହେଲେ ସେଟାକୁ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ। ତ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଟା ଗୋଟେ କମର୍ସିଆଲ ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ ହିସାବରେ ଆସିବ। ଇଞ୍ଜିନିୟରିଂ ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଆସୁଛି, related to construction machinery equipment। workmen compensation insurance ଯୋଉଟା କି ଗୋଟେ legal provision ମଧ୍ୟ ଆମ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆରେ ଅଛି, workmen compensation act, ଯେ during the working hour in a factory ବା in any industry जदि कौन वर्कर रो किसी disability आसुची किंबा किसी mishappenings होउची worker संगे then it is the responsibility of the employer to provide all sorts of medical assistance to that employee, and because of that whatever loss the employer faces, that loss will be compensated to the employer. So for that every employer is supposed to have the insurance. Liability insurance ମଧ୍ୟ ସେଇଥିର ଗୋଟେ ପାର୍ଟ ଭିତରେ ଆସିବ ଆଉ professional indemnity insurance ଗୋଟେ ଆସୁଛି ଯୋଉଟା ବେସିକାଲି ପ୍ରୋଫେସନାଲ ମାନଙ୍କୁ ପ୍ରୋଟେକ୍ଟ କରୁଛି, ଲାଇକ ଡକ୍ଟର୍ସ ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ, ଇଞ୍ଜିନିୟର୍ସ ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ, ଚାର୍ଟାର୍ଡ ଆକାଉଣ୍ଟାଣ୍ଟସ୍ ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ, ଯଦି କିଛି ନେଗ୍ଲିଜେନ୍ସ କ୍ଲେମ ଯୋଗୁଁ ତାଙ୍କର କିଛି ଅସୁବିଧା ହଉଛି ତାହେଲେ ସେଠି ସେମାନେ ଦଉଛି। So these are some of the commercial general insurance. Overall এই থার্ড ୟୁନିଟ ରେ ଆମେ ଏତିକି ପୋର୍ସନ ଆମର ଅଛି ଯୋଉଟା ଲାଷ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସ ରେ ଆମେ ଡିସ୍କସନ କରୁଥିଲେ ଯୋଉଟା ଆଜି ଡିସ୍କସନ କଲେ। Overall this completes your third unit. Is it okay?
ओके रिपीट ହେଇଗଲା ରିଭିଜନ ହେଇଗଲା।
ହଁ ଏଇଟା ଅଛି ସେ ଯୋଉ ଆପଣ ସିଲାବସ ରେ ଯେମିତି ଦେଇଛି ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ଯଦି ପ୍ରଥମ ଯୋଡେ ୟୁନିଟ କି ତିନିଟା ୟୁନିଟ ଖାଲି ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କିଂ ଦେଇଥାନ୍ତା, ଲାଷ୍ଟ ୟୁନିଟ ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଦେଇଥିଲେ ସୁବିଧା ହେଇଥାନ୍ତା। ସେ ସବୁଥିରେ ମିଶେଇ ଦେଇଛି, ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟରେ ମିଶେଇଛି, ସେକେଣ୍ଡରେ ମିଶେଇଛି, ଥାର୍ଡରେ ମିଶେଇଛି, ତେଣୁକରି କିଛି କିଛି ଆପଣଙ୍କର ରିପିଟେସନ ହବ।
ହଁ
ଆଉ ନେକ୍ସଟ କ୍ଲାସରେ ଫୋର୍ଥ ୟୁନିଟ ଟା ଦେଖିବା, ଆଉ ଫିଫ୍ଥ ୟୁନିଟ ର ଅଳ୍ପ କିଛି ଗୋଟେ ଓଭରଅଲ ଆଇଡିଆ, କାରଣ ଫିଫ୍ଥ ୟୁନିଟ ରେ ବେଶୀ କିଛି ନାହିଁ, ତଥାପି ଗୋଟେ
Sir,
ଓଭରଅଲ ଆଇଡିଆ ଦେଇଦେବି ଲାଷ୍ଟ
sir,
ହୁଁ ହୁଁ କୁହନ୍ତୁ।
one thing, this liability insurance, can you just elaborate
ହଁ
it a bit? Liability insurance.
liability insurance ଟା ହଉଛି ଆପଣଙ୍କର ବେସିକାଲି ରିଲେଟେଡ୍ ଟୁ ଦ ଥାର୍ଡ ପାର୍ଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ। ଇଫ୍ ୟୁ ଆର୍ ଲାଏବୁଲ ଟୁ ପେ ଏନିଥିଙ୍ଗ ବିକଜ ଅଫ ଦ୍ୟାଟ, ଯଦି ଆପଣ କିଛି ଲସ୍ ହଉଛନ୍ତି, ସପୋଜ ଆପଣ ମୋଟର ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କରିଛନ୍ତି ହେଲା, ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଗାଡି ଆକ୍ସିଡେଣ୍ଟ ହେଲା ଆଉ ଜଣଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗେ, ସିଏ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଡିମାଣ୍ଡ କଲା, ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ସେମାନେ ବି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କରିଥିବେ ମୋଟରର, ଆପଣ ବି କରିଛନ୍ତି, ଆପଣ ଯଦି ପଇସା ଦେଇଦେଲେ ଆପଣ ସେଟା ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କମ୍ପାନୀଠୁ ରିକଭର କରିବେ, ମୁଁ ଅଲରେଡି ପଇସା ଦେଇଛି, ମୋ ପାଇଁ କମ୍ପାନୀ ଦେବା କଥା ମୁଁ ଦେଇଛି, ସେଟା ଆସିବ ଗୋଟେ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି। ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଯେ ସପୋଜ ଆପଣ ଚାକିରି କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଗୋଟେ ଜାଗାରେ, ବିକଜ ଅଫ ଦ ନେଗ୍ଲିଜେନ୍ସ ଅଫ ଦ ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟିଜ, ଯଦି କିଛି ଲସ୍ ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟର ର ହଉଛି ତାହେଲେ ସେଠି ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟର ଯଦି ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କରିଥିବ, ଦ୍ୟାଟ ଲସ୍ କ୍ୟାନ୍ ବି କମ୍ପେନସେଟେଡ। ଗୋଟେ ଆମେ କହିଲେ ୱାର୍କମ୍ୟାନ କମ୍ପେନସେସନ ଆକ୍ଟ, ସେଟା ଲେଜିସ୍ଲେସନ ଅଛି, ସେଟା ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟର ଦବାକୁ ବାଧ୍ୟ, ତା ଫଳରେ ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟର ପାଇବ ପଇସା, ଯୋଉ ଲସ୍ ଟା ତାର ହେଲା ସେଟା ସେ ପାଇବ ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କମ୍ପାନୀଠୁ ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କରିଥିବ। ଏଇ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ମଧ୍ୟ ଆମେ ସେଥିରେ ଆଣୁଛୁ ଯେ ଯଦି ବିକଜ ଅଫ ଦ ଡିଜଅନେଷ୍ଟି ଅଫ ଦ ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟିଜ, ବିକଜ ଅଫ ଏନି ମାନେ କଣ ଇଲିଗାଲ ଆକ୍ଟିଭିଟିଜ ଅଫ ଦ ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟି, ଯଦି କିଛି ଲସ୍ ହଉଛି ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟର, ତାହେଲେ ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟର is supposed to be compensated with that loss if the employer has done a liability insurance. ସେଇଟା ଆସିବ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଭିତରେ। ଆପଣ ଯଦି କୌଣସି କେସରେ ଲାଇବୁଲ ହଉଛି, ସପୋଜ ଗୋଟେ ଅର୍ଗାନାଇଜେସନ ଆପଣ କରିଛନ୍ତି, ସେଥିରେ ପିଲା କିଛି ଅଛନ୍ତି, ତ ସେ ପିଲାଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ କରିବା ଦ୍ୱାରା ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଯଦି କିଛି ଲସ୍ ହଉଛି ତାହେଲେ ସେଇ ଲସ୍ ଟାକୁ ଆପଣ କମ୍ପେନସେଟେଡ ହେଇପାରିବେ ଯଦି ଆପଣ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କରିଥିବେ, ବୁଝିପାରିଲେ ତ? ସେଇଟା ଆସିବ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି।
So basically, this is a party is supposed to claim with the insurance, sir.
ହଁ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଏଟାକୁ କମର୍ସିଆଲ ବୋଲି କହିଲେ ନା। ଆପଣଙ୍କର ସପୋଜ ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ ଆପଣ କିଣୁଛନ୍ତି, ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ ଟା ତିଆରି କରୁଛି ଗୋଟେ କମ୍ପାନୀ, ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ ଟା ଖରାପ ହେଲା, ଆପଣ କେସ୍ କଲେ, କନଜ୍ୟୁମର କେସ୍ କଲେ ହେଲା, ଯୋଉ ଲସ୍ ଟା ଆପଣଙ୍କର ହେଲା, କମ୍ପାନୀର ଯୋଉ ଲସ୍ ଟା ହେଲା ବିକଜ ଅଫ ଦ୍ୟାଟ, ସପୋଜ କମ୍ପାନୀ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ପଇସା ଫେରେଇବ କି କଣ ଦବ, ତ ଯଦି କମ୍ପାନୀ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କରିଥିବ, ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଦବା ଦ୍ୱାରା କମ୍ପାନୀର ଯୋଉ ଲସ୍ ଟା ହେଲା, ସେ ଲସ୍ ଟା କମ୍ପାନୀ କୁ କମ୍ପେନସେଟ କରିବ ତାର ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କମ୍ପାନୀ।
सर गाड़ी मानकरे भी जोटा डेप्रिसिएशन जीरो ହେଇଗଲା ପରେ ବି ଚଲଉଛନ୍ତି, ସେଟା ହଉଛି ଏଇଟା କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଲାଇବିଲିଟି, ଥାର୍ଡ ପାର୍ଟି ଲାଇବିଲିଟି। ମନେ କରନ୍ତୁ ଗାଡି ଡ୍ୟାମେଜ ହେଇଗଲେ ସେ କିଛି ତାକୁ କିଛି ମିଳିବନି, କିନ୍ତୁ ତା ଗାଡି ପାଇଁ ସାମ୍ନା ବାଲାର କ୍ଷତି ହେଲା, ଦେନ୍ ସେଟା ସେ କ୍ଲେମ କରୁଛି। ଏଟା ହଉଛି ଯୋଉ ଗାଡି ଗୁଡା ଜିରୋ ଡେପ୍ରିସିଏସନ ହେଇଯାଉଛି, ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ମାନେ ଯୋଉଟା ପ୍ରତ୍ୟେକ ବର୍ଷ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ କମି ଶେଷରେ ତାର ଆଉ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ନାହିଁ, ତଥାପି ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ଥାର୍ଡ ପାର୍ଟି ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କରୁଛନ୍ତି।
ଥାର୍ଡ ପାର୍ଟି ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ବା କହିଲି ସେ କଥା, ଯେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଗାଡି ଯଦି କିଛି ଆକ୍ସିଡେଣ୍ଟ କରେଇଲା କାହାକୁ, ଯୋଉଠି କି ଆପଣ ପଇସା ଦେଇକି ତାର ସବୁ ଟ୍ରିଟମେଣ୍ଟ କରେଇଲେ, ତା ଫଳରେ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କିଛି ଲସ୍ ହେଲା ନା। ତେଣୁ ସେଇଟା ଆପଣ ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କମ୍ପାନୀରୁ ଆଣିବେ। ତେଣୁ ଥାର୍ଡ ପାର୍ଟି ଯୋଉ ଥାର୍ଡ ପାର୍ଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଆମେ କରୁଛେ, ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଇଜ ଏ ଫର୍ମ ଅଫ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ। ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କହିଲି ଯେ ୱାର୍କମ୍ୟାନ କମ୍ପେନସେସନ ପଢେଇଲା ବେଳକୁ କହିଲିନି କି ଏଇଟା ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଇନକ୍ଲୁଡେଡ ରହୁଛି। ମୋଟର ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ର ଗୋଟେ ପାର୍ଟ ମଧ୍ୟ ଏଇଟା ଥାର୍ଡ ପାର୍ଟି ଲାଇବିଲିଟି।
ଏଇଟା ମୋଟର
ଆପଣ
ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଇନକ୍ଲୁଡ ଅଛି।
ହଁ ହଁ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଖାଲି ମୋଟର ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଯଦି ଦେଖିବେ ସେଇଟା କଣ କି ଇଣ୍ଡିଭିଜୁଆଲ୍ସ ମାନଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ହଉଛି, ଯୋଉମାନେ ଓନର ରହିଲେ ତାଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ସେଇଟା ହଉଛି। ସେଠି ଇନ୍ସୁର୍ଡ ଓନର ରହୁଛନ୍ତି ନା,
ସାର୍ ସେଠି
ଇନ୍ସୁର୍ଡ ତ
ଦିଟା
କୌଣସି ଅର୍ଗାନାଇଜ।
ସାର୍ ଓନର ର ଡ୍ୟାମେଜ ପ୍ଲସ୍ ଭେହିକିଲ ର ଡ୍ୟାମେଜ ଦିଟା ଗଲା।
ସେଇ
ଥାର୍ଡ
କଥା
ଯୋଉଟା
କହୁଛି ନା।
ରହୁଛି ସାମ୍ନା ବାଲାକୁ ଯାହାକୁ ପିଟିଲା କି ଯାହା ସହିତ କିଛି କ୍ଷତି କଲା ଅନ୍ୟର, ସେଟା ହଉଛି ଥାର୍ଡ ପାର୍ଟି। ଆଉ ଯୋଉମାନଙ୍କର ଡେପ୍ରିସିଏସନ ଜିରୋ ହେଇଯାଉଛି ସେମାନେ ଓନ୍ଲି ଥାର୍ଡ ପାର୍ଟି ଲାଇବିଲିଟି କରି ଗାଡି ଚଲାଉଛନ୍ତି।
ହଁ, ସେଇଟା କହିଲି ପରା। ତେଣୁ ମୋଟର ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଟାକୁ ଆମେ ଆଣୁନେ କମର୍ସିଆଲ ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ରେ। କାହିଁକି ନା ମୋଟର ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ରେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଇନ୍ସୁର୍ଡ କିଏ? ଓନର। ଯିଏ ଓନର
Yes.
ରହିଲା ସିଏ ହଉଛି ଇନ୍ସୁର୍ଡ ନା।
ୟେସ୍।
ଓନର ଇଣ୍ଡିଭିଜୁଆଲ ହେଇପାରେ କିମ୍ବା ଗ୍ରୁପ ଅଫ ଇଣ୍ଡିଭିଜୁଆଲସ ହେଇପାରନ୍ତି, ସେମାନେ ଓନର ରହିଲେ ତ। କିନ୍ତୁ ଏଠି ଅର୍ଗାନାଇଜେସନ ହିସାବରେ ଯିବନି। କିନ୍ତୁ ଆପଣ ଯୋଉ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଥାର୍ଡ ପାର୍ଟି କ୍ଲେମ, ଯୋଉ ସେଇଟା ପାର୍ଟ ଅଫ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ରେ ଥିବ। ସେଇଟା ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଇନକ୍ଲୁଡେଡ ହଉଛି ମୋଟର ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ। ସେଥିପାଇଁ କହିଲେ ମୋଟର ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ର କିଛି ପାର୍ଟ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ରେ ଆସିବ। ଏ ୱାର୍କମ୍ୟାନ କମ୍ପେନସେସନ ଯୋଉଟା କହିଲେ ସେଥିରେ ମଧ୍ୟ କିଛି ପାର୍ଟ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ରେ ଆସିବ।
ମାନେ
ଆପଣ
ଏଇଟା
ଥାର୍ଡ
ଏଇଟା ସାର୍ କମର୍ସିଆଲ ଜେନେରାଲ ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଯୋଉଟା ଅଛି ଆଜ ଏ
ହଁ
ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ
ହଁ ହଁ କମର୍ସିଆଲ ଏଇଟା ଯାଉଛି।
ଡ୍ୟୁ ଟୁ ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟସ ରେ କିଛି ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ଥିବ, ସେଥିପାଇଁ ସାମ୍ନାରେ ଯାହା କ୍ଷତି ହେଲା that compensation will be borne by this life insurance।
ହଁ, କମ୍ପାନୀ ଏ ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ ତିଆରି କରିକି ଛାଡିଲା ମାର୍କେଟକୁ, ଆପଣ କିଣିଲେ, ଆପଣଙ୍କର ସେଥିରେ ଡ୍ୟାମେଜ ହେଲା କି, ଆପଣ
ହଁ
କମ୍ପାନୀ ଏଗେନଷ୍ଟରେ କେସ୍ କଲେ, ହେଲା, କନଜ୍ୟୁମର କେସ୍ କଲେ।
ହଁ
ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ କନଜ୍ୟୁମର କୋର୍ଟ ଡିସାଇଡ କଲା ଯେ କମ୍ପାନୀ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କମ୍ପେନସେଟ କରିବ। ତ
ହୁଁ
ଏଠି ଆମେ କହୁଛୁ ଯେ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କମ୍ପାନୀ ଯୋଉ କମ୍ପେନସେଟ କଲା, ତା ଫଳରେ କମ୍ପାନୀର ଯୋଉ ଲସ୍ ଟା ହେଲା, ସେଇ ଲସ୍ ଟା କମ୍ପାନୀ ତା ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କମ୍ପାନୀଠୁ ଆଣିପାରିଛି, ଯାହା
ୟେସ୍
ପାଖରେ
ୟେସ୍
ସେ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ କରୁଛି।
ୟେସ୍ ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ ଦେୟାର।
ସେଇଟା କହୁଛି। ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଇନ୍ସୁରାନ୍ସ ଟା ରହିଛି। ଓକେ, ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ଭେରି ମଚ୍ ଅଲ୍ ଅଫ୍ ୟୁ।
ଗୁଡ୍ ନାଇଟ୍।
ନେକ୍ସଟ କ୍ଲାସରେ ଫୋର୍ଥ
Okay.
ୟୁନିଟ୍ ଟା କିଛି ପଢିବ।
Good night.
ଗୁଡ୍ ନାଇଟ୍ ସାର୍, ଗୁଡ୍ ନାଇଟ୍ ସାର୍, ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ।
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ।